Hello and welcome to No Load Time, episode 39. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
Yo, what's up, guys? So good to be back with you here on the show. Man, we're gonna have a fun one today, as we always do. But I know we're gonna be talking a lot of things that might have seemed forgotten, but are extremely important. So we gotta make sure to cover it.
Yeah, today's like the forgotten episode,
It
or
is.
or the random episode. It's like, hey, I'm started looking into my closet and I found out all this stuff that I totally forgot about. So we're gonna so we're gonna talk about a few things that we forgot to talk about the last couple of weeks. But we hope you guys enjoy. And Joel, we do want to start with our what's ups.
Yes.
So, anything going on? Anything interesting that you're doing?
So it was a real busy working kind of weekend doing different stuff, but I did find time to sit down and jump into Netflix, as I told you guys in the last episode. I said that, obviously Jessica Jones was just coming out, so I wanted to make sure I spent some time to really dive in there and, see what it's all about. I've heard a lot of different things, but I tried to kind of push those things aside and give my own reaction to it. I have not yet finished it. I am at episode 7 now. So I'm kind of in the middle there, a little more than the middle of it. And honestly, I think it's good. I think that it's a good season 2 for Jessica Jones. I think that there is some storyline issues in the sense of like it's a little bit weaker than the first season, in my opinion.
Huh.
I think that the first season, the drama to it just kind of flowed in a way that you were very intrigued, and you didn't know what to expect Jessica Jones. You kind of in the end came to really like her personality and all that. And Jessica Jones is still Jessica Jones in the second season. But I feel as if though what they've done is that they've kind of taken us backwards, where it's like, who is she? How does she have these abilities? And like her family, where in the first season it was more like, this is this lady who has these abilities, this is the world she lives in, and this is the guy who's messed her up and is messing up other people, and she needs to stop him. Very straightforward. This one's more like taking us backwards, where it's like, this is now how she came to be and the mystery behind her. And I think that has to do with, maybe some of those holes maybe that fell through in the first season that I know some people complained about, where they said it was kind of draggy and there was some questions that they left. So I think they wanted to make sure they addressed that. Obviously, I've not yet finished it, so it's very well possible I get to episode 8, and like most Netflix shows, it just kind of ramp up like crazy from there. Again, it's not that it's bad. It's just I think your expectations going into it have to be that you're not going to get this high stakes, very strong, crazy, action packed story where it's going to be very dialogue heavy, very basic investigation, and a lot of relationship drama that incurs. And it's executed fine. It's not that it's bad. It's just your expectations maybe can compare to where you watch like Punisher, which is a really strong, really high action pack. Keeps going. Obviously, like all Netflix shows, there's always some dragginess, but still very, very, very intense, very high stakes. With this one, you just have to kind of keep your patience with it and just sit through, just to be more informed on Jessica Jones than anything else. That's what I'm gathering so far.
All right, cool. It took me a while to get through Jessica Jones. Not that I didn't like it. I did enjoy it pretty good. I thought it was well written and it was well paced. There was maybe two episodes towards the end where I felt that it kind of dragged a little bit, but overall I enjoyed it. Compared to like Iron Fist, I liked it, a lot more than that. Uh,
Agreed.
yeah, and I did start finally actually last week. I did start Defenders and Punisher, so I did watch one episode of each on those. So we'll see. Defenders was first episode was fine, and that first episode on Punisher was great. So can't wait to keep going in that. So.
And it's ironic you bring up Defenders, without going into it more. Like, it seems like because of the mixed reception and not as good, response to Defenders, at this point, they have not yet, they've not yet even talked about Defenders 2. So that's something that I think, I hope that they can maybe fix the Iron Fist character so that we can have another one of those. But as at this point, the actual actress that plays Jessica Jones says she doesn't even think there is going to be Defenders 2. I think there will be, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see about that. Um, and yeah, man, from my side, I finally got to watch Thor Ragnarok, man. We can talk about it finally.
Finally, finally.
I know. I really liked it, man. I
Yeah.
really liked it. I went in with high, like when I talked about Spider-Man: Homecoming, that I went with really high expectations because you hyped it a lot, and I heard a lot of people saying great things about the movie. So I went in with high expectations onto Homecoming, and I liked it. Okay, it was good. There's absolutely no question that that was a good movie. But like I got it really hyped up. So maybe that threw me off a little bit. But for Ragnarok, it was the same thing. Everyone hyped the movie really highly. You hyped it, and everyone, like, reviews were great. Everyone was talking about this movie. So again, I went in with very high expectations, and this were met. Like, this was like, I really liked this movie, man. It was funny. The action was great. The special effects were great. Really well-rounded story. Like, it starts and excuse me, and then has really good pace, and then it kind of goes into, its climax, and it wraps up everything really well. Like, there's no necessarily, like, there's a couple of loose ends that we've already kind of saw on the Avengers Infinity War trailer, that we know that there's things here that happen that are alluded in the trailer. So those are basically the loose ends. But overall, man, really well done. I really like Korg. Hey guys, you guys need a spaceship? We got a spaceship. You guys want to get out of here? Oh, so good, man. And up again, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston were fantastic. Um, Hulk was awesome, man. And I thought that whenever when he turned back into Banner, I was like, oh, I kind of like Hulk a lot because he was really funny and doing this really funny things. But then Banner was also really funny and interesting. So I was like, all right, it was, oh man, I really want to watch it again because he was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I definitely think Thor Ragnarok is one of those movies that, like, it's one of those common Marvel stories that you expect. However, it's executed extremely well. Where, like, there's some of these movies, like, that they're known that they have, like, Marvel's always known to have humor in their movies, but some hit, some are, don't hit as well, mixed reaction on some of the humor side. But at the end of the day, it's still a fun popcorn flick. I think with Thor Ragnarok, it's one of those movies where it's like, you're going to have a lot of fun. Almost everything, if not everything, is going to land.
Yep.
And the story is really strong. So it's like something you can just sit back and just, turn your brain off and just laugh and have a good
Yeah,
time.
it was
And
really good.
that's what I love about the entertainment factor. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, going, and I mentioned this to you, that when I watched Doctor Strange, I felt like a lot of the humor in Doctor Strange felt forced. This movie had a lot of humor, but it was just very well executed, and everyone was good. And it goes back to, I think, was it last week that we talked about Tom Cruise not projecting
Right.
like humor very well. I think that's the same thing with Beneficial Cucumber. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Guy, Benedict Cumberbatch.
So, so, so I think it's the same thing with him. He's an amazing actor, but it's really hard to think of him as a funny person, and humor comes through on his performances, but not he's more of a dry humor, right?
And that's the thing I would say is, like, I don't think that Doctor Strange should be that, and I think that that's like the Marvel formula kind of thing. It's not that he can't say something funny, but Doctor Strange, like, what goes from being extremely prideful and narcissistic to being a very, like, spiritually, like, sound individual. So he's not going to be over here like joking about the doors. I think he's just going to be the kind of person who's just going to stay, what needs to be done, understands the balance of things, and his mind's not at the place where like Stark is just, whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that in order to that is like they casted maybe the right person, but maybe some of the cues they're trying to go for is a little too Marvel-y. Where Thor Ragnarok, like we're talking about, Thor's supposed to be silly, he's supposed to be. He's never. If you try and take Thor too seriously, it's just not going to work. If you put Thor, no shade on DC, and we'll get there. If you put Thor and try to make him like Superman, like they do in Batman versus Superman or something, it just wouldn't work the same way.
That would be super boring. Yeah. Yep. So other than that, man, I got the Royal expansion for Final Fantasy 15 that came out last week. So it's $15, and you get the additional content for Chapter 15, and then you get some extra content. Like there's some extra bosses. I actually did a level 99 hunt that wasn't there before. That got added to the game, so that wasn't there before. And I know that there's a lot of changes to Chapter 15 that happened a couple weeks ago, even before the Royal expansion came out. But I still haven't done any of the Chapter 15 stuff. I did get into the Royal Vessel, into the yacht, basically, and went around, did like a side quest that you can do from Alticia. You can take the vessel out to the ocean, and then you do a side quest. And then I went fishing, because again, fishing on this game is really good. Like this is one of the best mini games on any RPG ever. Is the fishing on 15 is amazing. And so I did a couple of those new things that they have to offer. But next week I'll probably jump into the Chapter 15 stuff. I didn't get to do any Dragon Ball this weekend, man. I've been really, really busy. So I really wanted to see the extra content on Final Fantasy. Like I mentioned before, it's one of my favorite games ever. So I really wanted to check that out. Other than that, I did a little bit of Battlefront, not too much, just to it calls me. And it's again unfortunate that game. It's I don't want to talk about it anymore. Anyhow, but Joe, I did manage to get my hands on a UHD copy of Justice League with, I guess, bonus scenes not seen on the theatrical version, whatever that means. So extra mustaches. I don't know. So I guess we'll find out when I watch it. I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, other than that, man, it's been a crazy week. Things are getting pretty crazy at work. We can talk about it at a later time if we've talked about it. But we're winding down. Summer's almost here, and we're pretty excited for that. But Joel, let's kick off with our topics with a bit of breaking news. You texted me a couple hours ago with some breaking news from Instagram, if I'm not wrong, right?
Well, it's everywhere now.
It's everywhere now. It broke on Instagram. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, Humberto Gonzalez at The Wrap, who's always the guy breaking scoops. He's a big DC fan, but The Wrap's always one of those outlets that always breaking news. They just put out an exclusive saying that, and now it's been confirmed by various sources within the last few minutes or hour, that Ava DuVernay is in final negotiation talks. Basically, it's all but done, that she is going to be directing the DC films New Gods. And that is very interesting. I don't think they gave a timeline on when this is going to be coming out, if I'm not mistaken. But this is interesting because if you've watched Batman vs. Superman, you know that they are very clearly, if you watch Batman vs. Superman and you're a comic book sweaty nerd like we are, you know that there's a lot of New Gods references in there. If you watch Justice League, there's a very New Gods scene directly that's being spoken about between the Amazonians and the humans and the Atlanteans, and a great battle that happened. That's a really awesome sequence. But yeah, I mean, I know there was a few hardcore people that wanted this movie. Obed, I don't know about you, but this is not a movie that I was asking for. I think that I would actually much rather have first the Matt Reeves Batman movie than this movie come out first. I'd rather them get their characters down pat before we're making a villain movie, because if you know anything about New Gods, you know it's about the genesis, the beginning of Darkseid and the planet Apocalypse, and like a battle between these gods, and a Darkseid emerges, and it's a very classic Jack Kirby creation in the '70s, and I think it's a really awesome story and cool stuff. But I just don't know if the time is right to jump into this. I don't even, no disrespect, I don't even think people understood fully the weight and levity of like Batman vs Superman, or even some of the things that happen even in Justice League. In those movies, the Justice League, they even try to go lighter. I don't know if this. I feel like this is too soon to jump us into this. It's almost like jumping into Infinity War before you have the Thors and the Guardians of the Galaxies. You got to have an understanding of these characters, and I'm not. And I know this is not a Justice League movie, but I just feel like they need to build the mythology more with the characters existing before they start jumping into these new worlds. What do you think, Obed?
I don't care. It's like, because like you said, this is not like, I do not know any DC fans. We talked to a couple of DC fans, pretty much on a weekly basis. We talk amongst each other. No one asked for this, so this is like right. You get Iron Man, the first Iron Man. You get the Incredible Hulk. You get Iron Man 2, and then you get the Inhumans.
Exactly. Great example.
Yeah. So I mean, you get a movie about the Inhumans. It's like, no one asked for this. Why don't you just give me Captain America and something else? Why? The question's why, right? There's still no date. This is, planning stages, even maybe, if that. Man, what is DC thinking?
Now, here's the thing I want to really dive into now, because if you remember last week, I forget which movie I was talking about that I brought in to saying like, we were talking about Tom Cruise, like we were just saying in the beginning, and we were saying how great actor, maybe not a right fit for creating this movie, or being a Green Lantern or whatever, right? And I alluded to, if you remember, and I wish I could pull back that footage, but I alluded to, and I clearly said, because I didn't want to say the name of the movie because it had nothing to do with what we were talking about, but I said there's a movie coming out this upcoming weekend, and it has an amazing director, amazing actors, like real talented people. And the first time I saw like footage for this movie, I was like, this movie looks like a hot trash can. Like, it looks like it's just garbage on fire. Like, it does not look good. And I didn't want to say anything more about it because I was like, I don't need to like talk bad about this movie that has nothing to do with what we were talking about with Green Lantern and all that. But because it actually has something to do with this now, because guess what? The movie I was actually talking about was Wrinkle in Time. I was talking about that movie because honestly, when I saw the first stuff about that, I said this movie looks like complete trash, and it has nothing to do with the directors, the actors, or anything of that nature. It's, again, if you have the greatest cast, and it doesn't. I love Hugh Jackman. The movie Pan is absolute trash. Like, it doesn't matter who the actors or these people are. Ava DuVernay, I think, is an amazing actress, but Wrinkle in Time, that just came out this last weekend, could not even beat Black Panther in its fourth weekend.
Yeah,
fourth weekend. Ava DuVernay is the first female, black female, to have $100 million, budget for her movie A Wrinkle in Time. You can only imagine whatever the budget's going to be for this movie, New Gods. I think the reason why this is all coming out now is probably because of how bad Wrinkle in Time bombed. DC is able to get her on a budget, probably, because they're like, hey, you sucked on this movie. Yeah. You better negotiate a deal with us, because I'm not sure how many other studios are going to give you that kind of money again. So it's kind of like a second chance.
Well, the thing is that when you go back and talk to Wrinkle in Time, right? Basically, Star Wars and Marvel are financing Disney's like pet projects at this point, right? There's like, Disney could put this thing out, and their marketing was very, very aggressive. So I would think that most of their budget went on marketing, because it was everywhere. And yeah, I mean, critically, it did fine. Dude,
it got 41. Really? 41 is the highest I think it ever got.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very divisive.
I saw a couple of reviews, and they were like in the 60s. But man, Yeah, I mean, it's that type of movie, and it's again Disney's pets projects where Disney is just
It's like Lone Ranger and Tomorrowland and those movies.
exactly, yeah, like Tomorrowland, yeah.
Right.
So this pet project movies, they are being financed by the bigger ones, like the animated films, the Pixar movies, and Star Wars and Marvel, of course. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think she's competent. I think it's just that A Wrinkle in Time was a hard project to get on. It was like trying to put. I don't want to bring Snyder into the conversation, but it's like Watchmen, right? This thing that people absolutely love. I really have zero cares for it, but I went to the theater and watched the movie and I hated it. But you know, that doesn't mean that the source material is bad. I mean, not necessarily, but the end product to me was mediocre. So
Matchmaking, right? Like put Watchmen in another director's hands, like Christopher Nolan, maybe, and it's amazing. I don't know. I mean, I just say like with this director, same thing. Ava, like she does Selma, and it's like she's gonna win awards for this. She does Wrinkle in Time, and she's never gonna get critical acclaim for that. Maybe for hair and makeup, we'll see. But I'm just saying, like the director's fine, but I think this is the reason why you're getting this news now, is because DC's able to get her on a budget. And this could be a great opportunity for them because they just got an amazing director. So I think she's a great director. So it's a good opportunity. I just, again, why are we choosing this source material? Why isn't Ava directing a different movie? I think she could direct maybe even Justice League before this.
she could do like a Hawk Girl movie, and I'll be fine with that. Yeah,
exactly.
something smaller.
Yeah,
I think
not New Gods.
yeah, and again, we're going to a property that's one not well known with the casual audience, and something that could potentially be an extremely high risk for them to film, and even the chances of this actually turning out to be a good movie are very low. That's what I'm trying to say. So and I mean, we saw Suicide Squad, that flaming mess that was that movie. And then the other DC movies have been, I think, okay for the most part. I think I talked about how I really liked Man of Steel. I think Batman v Superman's fine. I'll yet to see Justice League. I think Wonder Woman's good. So why not continue going with popular DC characters, names and characters that people know, build this universe, and then give us something like this? Instead, again, it's like I said, it's like having the first two Iron Mans and Incredible Hulk, and then getting Inhumans. So why no one asked for Inhumans? Why you give us Thor or something else? I don't know, man. I think this is just easy continuing their streak of bad decisions out there.
Right. And
We'll
I
see.
mean, like, I think they can put out good movies. I'm sure you've heard Aquaman. Like, this is a forgotten episode, so we'll bring up this.
Yeah,
Aquaman,
yeah,
we never brought this up, but Aquaman did have test screenings like a month ago, maybe, and it got great reviews.
yeah. I
Like,
heard it's positive. Yeah,
and all everybody's saying, like, this is going to be, it's a fun movie, it's great action. So I think that, again, they're capable of putting out great stuff, and I think DC needs to keep trying. I'm just very skeptical of some of their decisions, the same way you are.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see with this ends. But this being the forgotten episode, Joe, Kristen Wiig as Cheetah on Wonder Woman 2. I know how you feel about that. I don't see that big of a problem with it. I think Kristen Wiig's a competent actress, and she's really funny. I know you're not too excited about it. So what's up?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a very good actress. I mean, she's one of those actresses that's very well regarded in the industry. So she's got extremely great acting chops. I don't know if you know some of the backstory behind it, but what was happening was initially the role was offered to Emma Stone. And Emma
Hmm.
Stone turned it down. She did not want to be part of it for whatever reason. Probably smart to stay away from the DCEU right now, assuming that
Yeah.
at any moment AT&T is going to swap in and buy this thing and reset everything. But Emma Stone turns it down, and then that's when they go back to Patty, and Patty says, "Look, I want Kristen Wiig," and that's when they go out to get her. I think this is not necessarily a slight on the actress, but I'm afraid that Cheetah's going to become a comedian.
Okay.
That's my fear, because that's not who Cheetah is. It's if you would have said Kristen Wiig, is playing, another unnamed character, and they create a character or they pull another character from the comics, I probably wouldn't respond this way, because I'd be like, we don't know yet. But because I know who the character is and I'm very familiar with Cheetah, I'm afraid that she's going to become the comedy villain, and it could go different ways. Michael Keaton, people forget, when he was cast as Batman, had a lot of backlash because of him being a comedian, and they were like, "Why are you getting this joke of a guy to be playing Batman? He's probably one of the best, if not the best, Batman, right? Up there." Same thing with Heath Ledger and all
Heath
stuff.
Ledger, yeah.
So like, I don't want to sit here and sound judgmental, because I don't know what she's gonna do and what they have planned. At this point, I'm just more afraid of what the portrayal of the character could be, because of the choice of the actress. Now, she's not always played a comedian. I mean, I watched The Martian, for example, most recently with her. She doesn't crack any jokes in that movie that I even remember, but she's great in that movie. Yeah, man, it's a tough one. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm cautiously optimistic, hoping for the best, but not going to be surprised if it doesn't go the way that I would like it to go. Maybe.
Yeah, I think she's a good choice. I trust Patty Jenkins' judgment. I think she's the only one over working in the DC stuff that actually knows what she's doing. Everyone else is just, man, it's like everyone's clueless, and I think she's the only one that's actually putting stuff together and actually working the stuff. She should have Justice League too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you watch Justice League, you'll say that, like, give it to Patty, because she knows how to.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Time will tell on that one. Joel, one other thing that we missed, Wreck-It Ralph 2, or Ralph Breaks the Internet, had a trailer a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't talk about it. I thought it was really, really funny, man. I think I really like where they're going, where they actually, the attendant gets the arcade attendant gets internet and puts Wi-Fi, and it's like, oh, it's Wi-Fi. What is that? I think it was really funny, and it's good to see that they're keeping, the Walter, is it Walter Day or whatever the Twin Galaxies like legendary ref is, kind of like inspired that character of the arcade attendant in Wreck-It Ralph. So it's good to see that they're keeping the same type of aesthetic all around, and then moving Ralph into the internet, and it's pretty cool. I think it's gonna be funny. The first one, I really, really like that movie, of course, but this one, I think, here's the thing, Joel. Normally there's this trend, right? And it usually happens with Disney movies, where Disney's already planning a type of movie, and then another studio comes in and does something similar. It happened with Ratatouille and Flushed Away, A Bug's Life, and Ants. It's happened for a long time now. And now I'm thinking, did the Sony people got a leak that Wreck-It Ralph was going to be about them being on the internet, and then they did the Emoji Movie? Because it's it's kind of like that, right? But at the same time, it's like Disney's product has always been much superior to whatever knockoff you'll get out there. So yeah.
the knockoff. I love that. Oh man, yeah, it's probably the same case I was thinking about recently with the Jungle Book. Like that there's there's supposed to be an Andy Serkis Jungle Book, which Andy Serkis is amazing, versus what happened with John Favreau and his Jungle Book. It's like, They were like, yeah, I think we're gonna wait to do this Jungle Book movie. I'm like, you probably shouldn't do that. Probably just do another movie instead. But
That was
yeah,
gonna be Warner, right?
sorry.
I think that was gonna be Warner, right?
It was. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Planet of the Apes style Jungle Book. Uh, yeah. So back to Wreck-It Ralph, man. I really like this trailer. I really dig this movie. Like you said, the guys he's carrying the router and he's putting it in. It's like, oh, time to plug everybody in, and they're plugging to the internet, and they go through the loophole into the internet, and it's so cool to see them in this big world where they're, like that one scene where you're standing back, like, wow, and you just see like a world different than what Ralph had been, and Glitch had been open to in the past, what they'd seen, where they were from, and I love all the little like reference stuff. I think that's the thing that's always been fun about like the Pixar, kind of, the Disney movies or any of those that they do where they throw stuff in there that like the adults would catch or other people would catch in there. So like, I think one of the ones that stood out to me was the guy who's like the pop-up kind of news thing going around, and he goes up and he's like, yeah, these six former child stars ended up turning out to be like what turned out to be a murderer or some crazy thing or whatever.
Yeah, you won't believe number 4.
You won't believe number 4. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, I love that one. I love that just because like clickbait, like how many people don't understand what clickbait is, and like in that one sequence they just explain what clickbait is.
Yeah.
Those, hey, this wood can be used for several things. You won't believe what number 3 is, you can do in your house. This grandma found out how to de-age herself, those kinds of crazy, articles or whatever.
Yeah, I like how they actually got into that little game at the end, that Moana. I don't know if you noticed that it was Moana.
I did.
Yeah, she was playing a little game on the tablet, and then she was like feeding the bunny or whatever, and then the bunny pops, and it was great. It was great.
I know, and those are real games too, like where you're feeding them, like that's real stuff, man. So it looks like a chubby bunny kind of joke bringing back. So I love that.
Yeah, it was really good. Can't wait for that one, and I really really enjoyed the first one, and I been waiting for a while for this one to come out, so definitely looking forward to that one. Joel, real quick, keep going, and this is probably the most random thing we're gonna talk about today. Joel, do you want to talk about Sandwich Gate?
Gotta love these leaks, man. Yeah, so like we were actually like sitting together talking one of the days, and you brought this up to me. I didn't realize, and then like I saw the flurry of news articles about this, that back when initially Marvel and Sony were talking, they've always had, I think, an open door compared to Disney and Fox, and Marvel, Sony just working on those original Spider-Man movies, and they made Spider-Man movies. And at one point, we all know the history that Kevin Feige went to really fight to bring in Spider-Man into the MCU to break a deal. And apparently, the first time Feige went out to really try and get Spider-Man back to get Spider-Man into the MCU, he set up this meeting with Amy Pascal. Sounds like it was more like a lunch meeting kind of thing, which is typical of execs in Hollywood and that kind of thing, right? To sit down and talk, wine and dine kind of thing to break a deal. And he basically says, to her, I would like to talk to you about, having Spider-Man a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe here at Disney and cut a deal. Her response, recorded by people who were in the room, and it's been said by a few different outlets, so I believe this to be true. She actually told him laughingly, but not jokingly, to get the blank out, and she took her sandwich that she was eating and threw it at Kevin Feige. Hit the guy with his sandwich. Who knows what he did. But we all know the rest is history, that eventually they ended up working out a deal. So obviously she got over her sandwich throwing and said, we actually need to make this deal happen at some point. But yeah, it was not well received in the beginning. It was so bad that an executive threw a sandwich at another executive over the thought of Spider-Man. coming into the MCU. Obed, what is this?
Man, it's and isn't there a part on the article where it says that she doesn't regret the reason why she regrets throwing the sandwich is because the sandwich was delicious or something
Yeah.
like that. It's like she doesn't regret throwing the sandwich to basically the one of the top executives in the biggest movie studio in the world. It was just because her sandwich was delicious. Uh,
And this makes so much more sense now when you talk about the interview that had the infamous interview that happened
the
with the
Venom
Venom
interview.
movie. And Feige's next to her, she's like, "Yes, Venom will be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe." And his eyes are like, "Huh? Like this is news to me. Tell me about this, Amy." I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's real kooky, man. I I don't know. I don't know how she they actually managed to make Homecoming into an actual good movie. I'm hoping Venom it's actually good. I've said it before. I'm really hoping for this movie to be good, but we'll see. I think I would rather, but in all honesty, Joel, because her involvement with Homecoming and Venom is because she left Sony and she started her own production company, and her company is the one overseeing these properties, right? So I trust her judgment more than I would trust whoever's right now top exec at Sony with these properties. Just to be honest, I mean, she may be a little crazy, but I would trust her more with these properties than I would trust the studio itself.
It's okay. You can throw a sandwich. It'll be all right in the end. No, man. I mean, the thing that I thought about with this article too, and I know you've probably heard the same thing. Like, Sony is the same people who, back when Marvel was having their financial issues and they had to sell off the film rights to their characters, and they sold off the right to Spider-Man to Sony, which is why Spider-Man before wasn't in the Avengers or any of those other, Disney Marvel movies, because those rights were sold to Sony. Like, at the time of when Marvel was bankrupt and having, financial issues, they not only did they approach Sony about buying the rights to Spider-Man, but it's been reported that they also were telling them, "Hey, like, we'll sell you guys Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America." Oh, no, sorry, not Hulk, because I think Hulk was already with Universal, but it was a Captain America. Yeah, like those guys. We'll give you, or Thor was in there. We'll give it to you for it was like some ridiculous, just like 20 million, like real.
It was like 23, yeah, like 23 million or something like that. Yeah.
It's like that's the kind of stuff, dude. That if I was the exec that made the decision at the time to say no, that's the kind of stuff that would make me lose sleep at night. Like, just knowing that I was the person who said no, and to see every Black Panther, another, it's getting another $1 billion Marvel movie and stuff. I would be losing sleep at night knowing oh my God, that could have been me. I could have had this property, and I screwed it up just because I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a testament to also the great execution of Disney. But yeah, man, this stuff has been going on for a long time, past the sandwich throwing days.
Yeah, talk about paying the price for your lack of vision on that one.
Wow,
man. Yeah, oof. Yeah, that one's crazy. Well, I mean, if it's of some redemption, none of those executives are with Sony anymore. So
yeah,
those guys all got fired when they restructured and Kaz Hirai went to be the CEO. He basically got rid of most of those people that were just dead weight in Sony Pictures. So
how do you make decisions like that and work in the industry? Yeah,
I know. Joe, some little bit of gaming news that came out very, very recently. So it got leaked last year somehow on I can't remember if it was a plane on a flight or on a train ride, that the next game on the Tomb Raider series is going to be called Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It was announced just this morning that Shadow of the Tomb Raider is real, and it's coming out on September 14th for everything. So coming out for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. No time exclusive deal on this one. That really, really soured the studio. This game's not being made by the same team that made the other two Tomb Raider games, Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider. That team that worked on Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider is working on the Avengers game that we saw a teaser a couple of years ago. We haven't seen or heard anything about, and that's one of my E3 predictions that game's gonna come out. We're gonna see that game in some form. So this is basically the guys that worked on the Deus Ex games that came out recently. There was one of them, Mankind Divided, came out recently on as one of the free offerings on PS Plus. So the guys over at Eidos Montreal are the ones that are going to be working on this game. I think it's great because they announced today it's March 15th, comes out September 14th. That's how you should announce games, right? None of this, 5 years early or whatever. I think this is great, and this is great news for everyone because this Tomb Raider games are actually pretty freaking good, man.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy about this announcement, and I can't wait to see what this game really is at the end of the day. Fully, I think that the reason that this came out today of all times for it to be marketed is just because we both know that there's a Tomb Raider movie that's coming out this upcoming weekend. So I think to coincide with this movie coming out, it's like, hey, this is a game and this game's coming out, and also for the people who are fans of the game, maybe that they'll go out, watch the movie, kind of a mixed marketing tool going on there. But regardless of that, I think regardless of whatever happens with the movie, the game itself is just something that people have been waiting for to hear. It's an entirely new group that's putting it together. So not that the other ones were bad, but it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, this is exciting, this is interesting, and see if they did anything that different with it that will make it more fun. I can't wait to see more from it and talk more about it when we get more information out of it. But yeah, timing of it, when it comes out, all makes sense. It's all good.
Yep. I think that's probably the first big announcement that we've gotten this year because everything so far that's come out was announced beforehand. What we know is coming out, other than Call of Duty that was announced last week. So this is the second biggest one that's been announced this year. To come in this year, of course, we always expect the Call of Duty game to come out on a yearly basis. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Yeah, these games are really good. So I'm really interested to see where they go on this one. I may grab that Rise of the Tomb Raider because I heard it's really good, and I really enjoyed that first one. I played the definitive edition that came out on PS4, and I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with that game. So I may pick up that second one, and if this third one looks good, I may even pick it up. But yeah, Tomb Raider fans, this probably never been a better time because you're getting a movie. You got two awesome games out, one coming out soon. Yeah, pretty good stuff there for you guys. And Joe, the last piece of news that I have real quick for us anime fans, and specifically for us Dragon Ball fans. As you know, I've talked about it before. I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. So I don't know if you heard, Joel, that Dragon Ball Super got quote unquote canceled. And there's 2 episodes left. So they're ending what we know as Dragon Ball Super right now. And the reason why I say quote unquote cancel is because I think it was not necessarily canceled. I think they're going into a hiatus, and then they are going to rework some things. And I believe, this is me personally, that they you know what? Let's go with the news first. Before I go into that, there's a Dragon Ball movie that was rumored last year at one of the one of the Jump Fests up over in Japan, and it got announced that the 20th Dragon Ball movie is coming out December 14th this year, and that this will be a continuation of Dragon Ball Super. What fan speculation is Dragon Ball Super was like a test the waters kind of scenario, right? Akira Toriyama wrote Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, and they tested it out as movies. People reacted very positively to the first one. Resurrection F was, I haven't watched the movie, but I heard it wasn't good. But still, fans reacted positively to it, and then Dragon Ball Super was born of that. And Dragon Ball Super, I've been watching it. I think I'm on episode 68, 67, 68. I've been really, really enjoying it. Like I mentioned, it's really funny and it's really well written, and I really like the character development it has. That Goku Black arc was fantastic. It was, I think, better than the Majin Buu arc on Dragon Ball Z. If you ask me, that's just me. The other two arcs on Z are still better because those are just too epic. But what fans are saying is that they're testing the waters with this movie coming out in December, and that there will be a new series coming out sometime next year. So that would make sense. Dragon Ball is the biggest it's ever been. It has a multiple hit video games out right now. There's Fighter Z and Xenoverse 2. They have really big player bases right now. I heard great things about Xenoverse 2, and a lot of people play it. It has a really big community, and Fighter Z is basically taking over the fighting game.
Fighter Z has gone crazy.
Yeah, that took over the fighting game community. So, and then Super having really high ratings, and I think that's something. And Japanese TV, the way they work, it's very different from US TV. It's sort of the same, but there's been a few series where they start on like Family Guy is a great example of that, where the series did its 3 seasons on Fox. The series got canceled, went over those in syndication to like TBS and Cartoon Network on Adult Swim, and then it got really, really popular. Then Fox picked it up again, and then the series continues to this day. This is basically, I think, what happened with Super. Like Fuji TV or whoever's funding Super said, hey, ratings are down, we're gonna go ahead and cancel. But then ratings just skyrocketed recently, and I think it's like, no, we gotta keep this going. So I think that's what me personally, I think that's what happened. Great news for us Dragon Ball fans. So I am really, really hyped for this, man.
No, it's good stuff, man. I'm happy for you. I know you're gonna enjoy it, and yeah, and I know there are many Dragon Ball fans out there. So, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z, like I said, I've only heard great things about it. Not only is it well received by fans, but it's a solid game. So this is great.
Yeah, man, that game took over. It's huge, man. It's so good. It's it's one of those games that I just keep thinking about just going back and playing. Like I would right now, Joel, I would end the podcast. I would play Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Let's end the podcast and do it.
All right, that's it, guys. I'm out. Nah, we still need to wrap it up. But yeah, very, very cool stuff. They did release a piece of art that looks very classic. It's very classic Goku with his power pole. And looks good. Looks a lot cleaner because they got the. So I think that what happened is that the lead animator or the lead artist that's worked on Dragon Ball since Z is leaving or retiring, and the person that's taking over is one of the guys that was an artist on One Piece. So that's the guy that's taking over. So the character design, or at least that portrait of Goku that they released, looks a lot cleaner than some of the later stuff that we've seen out there. So I am really excited for that. So looks a lot more classic, and I am really excited for it, man. I can't wait. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be great, and I'm really pumped for it. But yeah, Joel, I don't know if you have any more randomness in you, but I'm pretty sure I can find a couple other things here.
Yeah, I'm always have random stuff to talk about, but I mean, I think we're good, dude. I just can't wait to hear next week your reaction to Justice League after you watch it, because Thor, I waited a while. We just got that today. That was pretty epic. I can't wait to hear Justice League. I've told you before, go in with low expectations, and you'll leave having a great time.
Yeah.
If you have high expectations, you're going to be disappointed. I'm just curious to hear your reaction. I think just watch it, digest it, think about it, and I cannot wait to see your reaction with that, man. Well, with all that being said, can I go ahead and close it out?
I do have one more random news thing.
Go for it.
There's a new episode of Family Guy coming out Sunday, and it's gonna be commercial free, brought to you by PlayStation. They're gonna have a God of War commercial at the beginning. It's gonna be the Family Guy episode commercial free, and then a commercial for God of War at the end. So
wow, that's great advertising.
Yeah. So another little bit of random news there.
That's very interesting, man. I love the God of War trailer event thing that they had at the Warriors game.
We didn't talk about that. Yeah,
that's a great video. If you guys ever could look that up on YouTube and watch what they did with the Warriors, on court projection, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, that's all I got, Joel. If you want to plug in the Instagrams and the Snapchats and all those things that your kids are into.
Don't age yourself, Obed. You're hanging out with Joel Young. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch and be hanging out with us here at No Load Time. We really appreciate it. We covered a lot of really cool stuff, so we want to make sure you guys stay with us, as we always do this every single week. So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time. Go ahead and give us a follow. Be a friend. We want to be connected with you. And then we also ask that you go ahead and subscribe to us. If you're listening to the audio version, you can do that on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. Subscribe to there, and you can hear us. If you're with iTunes on iOS device, you can go ahead and drop us a review. We'd really appreciate that. Also want to point out to you that if you are watching us, on our YouTube channel, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys watching us here. Go ahead and share it with friends and family. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Maybe give us a like on the video. We really appreciate all of your feedback. And to mention feedback, we would love to hear from you even more you could send us an email. So shoot an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. It's noloadtime@gmail.com. Questions, comments, you name it. We love to hear from you. We've gotten a few emails, and so we always appreciate it. And it's always welcomed here at No Load Time. We thank you guys so much, and I cannot wait for the next episode. As always, it's so much fun to hang out with you, Obed, talk about the school stuff.
Absolutely, man. I really do enjoy it. And we will see you guys next week. Have a good one.
See you guys.